Good morning, hockey fans. I'm sure we are all still very hungover from that very intoxicating Four Nations face-off. That's a game changer. I am so thrilled at how it was received, not even just by hockey fans, but just people in general. I was getting texted by so many different people I haven't talked to in a while, just saying, dude, are you checking this out? This is insane. Like, how did we not hear about this? And it was just smashing success. And every game, whether blowout or not, was entertaining and competitive and really some of the best hockey that I think I have ever seen. We're going to dive into that, go through a little player spotlight. I'm going to spotlight a few players in the tournament that I thought played really well, really just specifically two that really put themselves on notice. We can talk about this wild card race. Obviously, there was some hockey yesterday, some today. This East is super tight right now. And then gonna do a little today in hockey history. Then we're out of here. Quick episode today, but I got some stuff I want to share with you guys. Coming up next. First player we're spotlighting, Jaccob Slavin. I mean, I have been lucky to see him play in person numerous times. But this goes to show that we need to have an award for the best defensive defenseman. We have one for the best defensive forward. That's great. We need to give some love to that guy. Not your points guy, but down the stretch when you really need him to, block a shot, really get down and play great defense, I would pick him over so many different defensemen who score, 40, 50 points. I really would. Like, everyone has their thing in this league. And some people's things are being able to play both sides, offense and defense. And he's not a bad offensive player. He makes smart passes. He's got a great plus-minus. He's plus 162 for a career, which is insane. He's played 9 years in the NHL. But his ability to just, he changes games. I think he's top 5 in most caused turnovers in the NHL. And just, you saw it in the tournament. Dude was actively wreaking havoc for every single team that they played. He's a put a body on you first, but he's great at poke checking, finishes checks, makes smart, long passes into the neutral zone. Just such a high IQ player that definitely has kind of swung under the radar in regards to his defensive talents pretty much his entire career. He has been a anchor for that Carolina team. They lost yesterday to Toronto, which was unfortunate, but they very much look to him to be that guy for them, and he never fails. He is a very talented defensive-minded defenseman that you really don't necessarily see them excel at a level like he does. Like, it got to the point where everyone is like, oh my god, this Slavin's a dog. Slavin's a dog. Like, every tweet I saw was, get this guy some runner-up trophy for MVP or best player in the tournament. Like, just played his ass off the entire time. Was diving. I forget who he got that diving block on. I think it was either in the final or was against Finland. I can't remember, or Sweden. But just an absolute beast, and I'm so glad that people are starting to really appreciate his ability defensively, because I would be very pressed to find many defensemen, many players that are better than him defensively. The other guy that I would also like to spotlight, dude looked like he did when he won a cup his true rookie year, 2018-2019, in TD Garden. Felt comfortable in that arena. Jordan Binnington. No, he didn't have the best, tournament ever. But boy, oh boy, when it mattered. That save on Tkachuk, his 40, I forget how many saves, 30-plus saves that night. But his save on Tkachuk and Matthews was, he really, truly gave them a chance to win. Because it was all USA. It was all USA up until really McDavid hit the game winner. It was 100% USA's game to lose. Because they just were, I think, just a little bit more alive in overtime, maybe less tired. I don't know. Obviously, they were a little banged up. Matthew Tkachuk not being out there was huge, but Binnington getting those few saves really absolutely saved them that game. And I don't even know if Aiden Hill even played. I think he played all 4 games that they played, but absolutely came up huge when he's called upon. And I think it was so funny because everyone had said that Hellebuck was going to be the man, and he was. Don't get me wrong; like he played phenomenally the entire time. But I kind of like that Binnington got he played a very, very key role in winning that game. Came up with so many big saves, and they are the Four Nations champs. Two players that I really think deserve a bunch of props for their performance, and I look forward to seeing how this plays out for next year. Next up, we're talking about the Four Nations face-off as a whole. There were some aspects that I think were obviously interesting. I think I think it's cool to have a round robin. I think, it's good to play every country at least once. But I think if it were to get to the point where Canada, obviously USA beat Canada in the second game that was played, and then they meet in the final, still technically, I guess USA has more points. So maybe there could be a third game to really, have the winner, because I think technically they would still have, if it was the same point system, they would still be tied. So then a game 3 to really, for all the marbles, something for the future, hopefully. But no, this was a complete success and a great idea for the NHL. I think pretty much a lot of people counted out Sweden and Finland, and I think they really put up, a way better effort than we had originally thought. Sweden could have very easily won that game against Canada in Game 1. Obviously beat USA. They, had sat 3 of their star players, but still, put up a really good effort against a still really, really good USA team. Finland got the win against Sweden. So, every team was competitive. Obviously, there were aspects of different teams that were better than others. USA was probably the most complete team. Canada, that being forwards, defensemen, and goaltending. They had Connor Hellebuck. Enough said. But I mean, Canada. If you have McDavid, Crosby, and McKinnon on a power play line, that's insane. And some of those lines, and they were just doing everything. Even USA having both Kachucks on one line with Jack Eichel, that is a recipe for success. That's insane, and I would never want to face that team ever in a million years. That would be absolutely terrible. But, I think that this was just the tip of the iceberg. I think that this could be, I'm not saying that it wasn't fantastic. It was absolutely incredible. But I think that there could be a little bit more. I think there could be some additions to this tournament that would be super beneficial to the popularity of it. Obviously, if there was a way to do it where, maybe 2 other countries were able to be added, I think that would be awesome. I think not having a Russian team, it feels weird. When you talk about all-star games and you talk about, other things like that, I was talking with a buddy of mine who doesn't know a whole lot about hockey, and I was explaining to him, the format and all that, and he's like, so, what about players from other countries who are really good? They're not playing in their all-star game. Because this is practically what it is. It's an all-star game tournament. And I was like, no. He's like, that seems kind of weird. And I was like, I really started to think about it. I'm like, not having Ovechkin in this, not having Kucherov, Kaprizov, Shesterkin, Sorokin, all of these dogs, I think that Russia team would really be top-notch. They would be, I would honestly put them, I really don't think that there's a lot of, it would be USA, Canada, Russia, and everybody else. I really believe that. I think obviously it was USA and Canada, the fate was there, and, the history was there, and they had to play in the final, so obviously that was going to happen. But if Russia comes into the mix, it's a whole nother ball game. That's a team that is so stacked with talent. Even I'm just thinking of everyone who would just be added to this team, and it's insane. That would be some brick shithouse forwards. They would be so physical, and they would be so difficult to beat. Sergachev, Zadorov, defenseman. Yeah, that would be bad. I would love that, though. That would be insane. But no, just as to the format of it, if it was a 6-team, maybe not everyone has to play each other. Still the same point system, but just we get some more names, more faces in there, and because I think it's just weird not to have, a good bit of your star talent in the NHL not playing in the All-Star weekend, or week, or 8 days, however the hell long it was. That just feels weird to me. But overall, this tournament was a complete and utter success. I really don't believe that, or I knew that it was going to be amazing to watch, but I know that the reaction from non-hockey fans and beyond was, I honestly thought it was very surprising. I didn't think that it was going to gain as much traction as it did, and I cannot wait to see. And I think it was just a great break. I think it was great to bring us back into the NHL. Obviously, it's so funny. Watching games last night, the intensity is not nearly the same as we watched this past week. It's just not the same. But as I was going to say, I can't wait to see where this goes, where it takes the sport, where it takes the NHL in general, and such a great idea by the NHL. Next up, we're talking this very highly contested wildcard race in the East. Not as much of real competition in the Western Conference. Obviously, Calgary and Utah are really the main clubs that are going to try and fight for a playoff spot. If Colorado doesn't get in, that would be absolutely insane. They 68 points on the year, so I think they're pretty much locked again. And if they kind of stay their course, hopefully they're able to stay a little bit more consistent. Winnipeg with 40 wins on the year is insane to me. I looked forward to seeing if they can really deliver in the playoffs, but Detroit with an absolutely crushing loss yesterday. That disgusting little punch in by Brossi, I think. That was a tough loss, but they're number one in the wild card spot. Ottawa in that 2 spot, but Columbus is right behind them, all tied with 62 points. So it's really anyone's ball game in the East. I mean, the last team in the Eastern Conference, Buffalo Sabres. Awesome 7-2 win for them against the Rangers last night. They're at 51 points, so they're 11 points out of a playoff or out of a wild card spot. Go down to the Western Conference. Worst team in the Western Conference is San Jose with 37 points. Yeah, it's not really close. Those bottom 3 teams in the East or West are. Nashville's the biggest surprise to me ever. I don't really understand that, but I guess they just don't have that team chemistry. Just isn't there yet. I really don't know. Back to the East. I mean, so Columbus on that 1 spot outside of the wild card. Boston with 61 points, second out of the wild card. Rangers destroyed last night. They looked terrible. Igor gets pulled first period after letting up 5 goals against the Sabres. Also, Tage Thompson just absolutely bodies everyone and then punches 1 5-hole. Almost threw up. Islanders, 57 points. Canadians, 57 points. Flyers, 57 points. Pittsburgh Penguins, who are the last in the Eastern Conference, have 55 points. Or second to last in the Eastern Conference. Their matchup against Washington yesterday, I really feel like if they can get to the point where they can play a full 3 periods, there's just so many players on that team I just don't even know. I don't even know them. Like that Pittsburgh team I used to know everyone on that team, and now there's just call-ups and people that I just don't know. But obviously Crosby scored because he's a beast. Gino's a beast. Letang's a beast. He scored. But there's just no depth on that team. Like, past the first, second line, I don't know who you are. If I had to guess right now, I think Ottawa deserves it. I think Detroit really deserves it. They've had so many different spans of games where they have played lights out. They're currently 7-1-2 in the last 10, so I mean they're playing really, really well. Islanders have had their spurts of playing really good hockey as well, so I kind of would like to see them get in. I somehow want to see the Devils just completely crap an egg for the remainder of the year and not make it. That would be awesome because I hate the Devils so much. Blue Jackets, I think it would be very cool. Shout out to Zach Werenski. He was one of my player spotlights in one of the first episodes I had because he's been having an awesome year this year. But I haven't really been able to see a lot of his games. And I watched him play a few years back, but he is really pushing himself into that next level defenseman. Breakaway goal yesterday. He's just a beast. Like, another high IQ defenseman, but so offensively gifted. Great passer. knows really when to shoot it at the net. Really tries to look for a deflection up front, like, or screens or anything like that. Like, he just knows when to do the right thing at the right time. And, that Columbus team really is, it looks good. Marchenko finally back after breaking his jaw a month ago. Another Russian. Put him in Four Nations. Another one. I would love to see Columbus get a push for this wild card race. It's not so outside of the realm of possibility. They just, make it themselves into Metro. Last in the New Jersey's third outside of the wild, or first outside of the wild card. It goes Washington, Carolina, then New Jersey. So New Jersey's at 68 points. They're not too far off, only 6 points away. So it's still 26 games left in the season. So a lot of time left to really, get some momentum, and really make a strong push. If I had to guess right now, I really do believe Ottawa deserves a shot. I would love to see Brady Tkachuk in the playoffs. He's never played in a playoff game. And obviously we saw him play lights out and really and truly was the heart and soul of the U.S. team that entire Four Nations tournament. So I would really love to see them in there. I really do think Detroit deserves it as well. So I think that wild card spot right now is pretty solidified in what I think that they will be able to do for the rest of the year. Still going to stay tight. If Columbus is able to, get a good stretch of wins, that's really going to put them on a right path. They get some road wins. They haven't done super great on the road this year. That Boston team, they've really been very stagnant all year. Swayman has not played to earning that contract. Pasta's been really the main source of anything offensively. The Rangers I don't even know what's going on with them. It's kind of a dumpster fire right now. Like, watching them, they finally put Mika on the third line, and that line was the only line that scored. No, power play, I think they scored. But they're just, their identity is so skewed, and they just don't really know who they are as a team anymore. Like, what style of play that they can do successfully. I just really don't think they know that. The Islanders, I think if Sorokin ups his game and they help him out defensively, I think that would really be their best bet. Montreal's another team that I really like. They have a lot of cool pieces offensively with Caulfield and Suzuki and even Patrick Laine. I think if they were able to maybe develop a little bit of their, third and fourth liners, that team could, maybe make a little push. But Flyers I like too. Konechny's cool. He's a really great player. I liked the way he played. Obviously wasn't, making insane impact in the Four Nations, but I really do enjoy how he plays. They had a good win against, I don't know if they did win, but they played yesterday and they were up against Edmonton and Pittsburgh. I think there's just way too many inconsistencies in goal with them right now. I think playoffs are a long shot for them. But again, 26 games left this year. It's going by way too quick, but this Eastern Conference is, it's gonna stay tight. It really is. I mean, the only shoe in right now, really, because every single one of those teams, other than the Capitals, could go on a terrible bender of losses and really find themselves out. But the Capitals are pretty locked in. I mean, that team looked unreal yesterday, and Logan Thompson. Connor Hellebuyck doesn't exist. Logan Thompson is a Vezina Trophy winner. I really believe that. But playoffs are slowly approaching. We'll see who gets in. And for our last segment today in hockey history, in 1985, goaltender Patrick Waugh makes his NHL debut with the Montreal Canadiens. Arguably one of the best goalies of all time. 19 seasons, Canadiens and Avalanche. 551, 315, and 131. Goals against average 2.54 for a career. That's insane. Save percentage 0.91 in 1,029 games. He has 3 Vezina trophies, 3 Conn Smythe trophies, 4 Stanley Cups, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006. Currently the head coach of the Islanders. I've heard so many cool stories about this guy, but he's just seems like a very genuine coach and genuine hockey player, and hockey mind. He just, has always been, in a lot of different interviews and stuff. He just seems like he's very win first, and also goes to bat for his players, and just also a very stellar playing career as well. Most playoff wins in NHL history, and 551 wins as a goalie that's truly incredible. I think this part of in the current state of hockey, I think it's really cool to see all the amazing talent that's going on currently. And I think sometimes we forget about how amazingly awesome people back then were, and the absolute dominance that so many of these players had that they're just not talked about in the same light. And he's one of those all-time goalies that will live on in NHL history forever. And I really hope that he's able to push this Islanders team to the next level. But it's been a tough road. If he's able to get some people, or if that team's able to get some people trade deadline and free agency, then hopefully. But great little piece of hockey history, and shout out to Patrick Waugh for being an absolute legend. That is going to be it for our 16th episode of the 30-Minute Major Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Wyatt McInerney. If you like the episode, please feel free to follow us on all socials, X, Instagram, and YouTube. With this All-Star break being done, hopefully we see a little heightened level of intensity and everything as, every team pushes for the playoffs. But, I think I got a great feeling about this year in regards to the, how I think this playoffs is going to go. You have so many different powerhouse teams that are going to be just absolutely clashing heads. Teams that just have different aspects of them that I think will really show, and so much star power that's just going to be just on display for us to watch this year. So go out, watch some hockey. Should be games on today, and see you guys next week. Thanks.